Welcome to the Shoot Your Shot Sports Fantasy Football Lifeline Show. This is Richie Chicago, and I'm joined by my expert, Jay Ballar. What up, Jay Ballar?
What's up, buddy? How we doing tonight?
Good. So, like always, we're here to help
You
suck
less.
Awesome. And today's show is always sponsored by Thrive Fantasy, the daily fantasy sports app for player props. This can be found on the Google Play and App Store. So use promo code Lifeline, sign up today, and do a match up to $50 on your first deposit, minimum $20. So check back this Thursday for our Thursday night football contest picks. And yeah, we have a bunch of injuries this week. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, man. Again, I think there's no other way to open the show here. It's one of these weeks we're going to be able to come on and say, hey, no one got hurt this weekend. This week's not that week. Of course, we lost another, what I find, big player for the NFL, not just fantasy, but, the NFL is a better league when people like Dak Prescott and this week Odell Beckham Jr. on the field. Those are nationally known guys. Go out there, put big plays up. We've talked about Odell a couple of times on the show or throughout the year. He's had a couple of great weeks. He was finally starting to feel healthy. I feel bad for the guy. It's pretty much his third major injury. It's going to be really tough to come back from, especially an ACL tear. But yeah, he's we got him done for the season. You kind of figured that, that was the case when we started getting the reports Sunday night. So from a fantasy standpoint, it is a bummer. I'm guessing he was in quite a few starting lineups. Aside from that, we'll kind of dive in on my expectations, from a filler standpoint. Outside of the Browns organization, I really don't think there's anybody in the Browns organization just yet that I'm ready to go after. Jarvis Landry was likely already owned in most leagues. He's going to see an uptick of targets. Again, we got Chubb coming back here in a couple of weeks. That offense will start rolling again from on the backs of the Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. So it's we'll see what happens with Baker. Again, he's a guy that needs good running team, but hey, I thoughts are out to Odell. I want to see him back in the league as soon as possible. It's early enough in the season where we should see him back by training camp of next year. Whether or not he'll be in a Browns uniform, that's yet to be seen. But yeah. Next, guy he's been on the injury report a lot this year. Chris Godwin just came out that he's going to be out this week, guaranteed. He's out. As of today, he's not practicing. They've already ruled him out. Not a short week, not anything. So that gives me a little cause for concern going into the next couple of weeks. Again, we'll touch on that Tampa Bay offense here a little later. But yeah, he's somebody that you're gonna need to slip him down. And if you're hurting, he's somebody you might be trying to trade to a person that's already guaranteed for the playoffs to try to get. If you need to win the next few weeks, Chris Godwin's not gonna be the guy I'm gonna be depending on. So if you're able to flip him right now for anything that can help you right now, I'm gonna recommend that. Kenyon Drake went down he actually tore a ligament in his ankle. That's technically a severe high ankle sprain. It's about as severe as a high ankle sprain gets. We've seen 4 or 5 of those this year. That's what kept Christian McCaffrey out 6 weeks. That's what has kept Mostert out multiple times, or this time Jeff Wilson's out with that again this week. So it's, again, they're saying 2 to 3 weeks. I think that's very, very friendly of a timeline, especially with as good as Chase Edmonds looked coming into that game. Again, Chase Edmonds likely owned in most of your leagues. If he's not, run out there and add him to your waiver wire list. I'm not even putting him on the waiver wire. He's somebody I've been talking about for 4 or 5 weeks. No reason he should be unowned at this point. But if you do get lucky, he's somebody you want. He's going to be great RB2 flex option for you. Chris Carson, he got hurt. Looks like it's a mild foot sprain. They weren't. Again, he's not been the main person in that offense this year. It's been a Russell Wilson led offense. Carlos Hyde is likely going to be the backup, but news out of practice today is Hyde's got a bum hamstring. So a guy that I'm actually looking at, I'm not sure I'm adding it on a waiver wire, but if you need a backfill or need a replacement for Chris Carson this week, DJ Dallas is a name you're going to want to see. If at any point you hear Carlos Hyde is 100% out, then DJ Dallas is someone you're going to want in your lineup. He's got a handful of touches each week. Doesn't look too bad. He'll slide in there for Hyde, but if Hyde is playing, he's the guy I'm wanting. He's the guy I'm filling in. He's likely going to be number 1, number 2, potentially number 3 on waiver wires this week. So you're going to need to have a good spot to be able to get somebody like Hyde. If you need him, can't get Hyde. Dallas is going to be somebody, and we'll come back to him when we talk through some of the waiver wire. I mentioned him a minute ago, Jeff Wilson. He was having a killer game for all those McKinnon owners. I had McKinnon going. Kyle Shanahan didn't tell us they were planning on resting him the whole game. McKinnon actually got me negative 0.1 points. Luckily, I won by 0.5 points. So if I would have lost because of McKinnon's not minus 1 point, I would have been so mad. Jeff Wilson, he had an awesome game. I think anybody that's the starting running back in that offense is going to be startable potential. They're down to Hasty, who's sounds like the only healthy running back. McKinnon, they're not giving him any injury designation. They've said that, hey, we ran him harder than we needed to. Again, if you guys didn't know, he's missed the last 2 seasons with a knee injury. So they are doing what we're seeing in the NBA there in San Francisco. We'll talk about Aaron Jones here in a second too, but the load management, it's something that we're starting to see with these teams that carry 2-3 running backs. I think it's something that will likely continue on in years to come. It'll be with the running backs going down like they are. If you're able to keep your guys healthy and get them there to the end of the year, you're going to have a good team. So McKinnon, no injury. He was just on load management last week. And again, Deebo Samuel, he's going to be out this week as well. So he was a late injury. Brandon Ayuk stepped in for him, looked really good. If you're able to get Brandon Ayuk, I'll let you know where I throw him in on my power rankings for waiver wire this week. But yeah. You're not going to drop Deebo. You're going to keep him around. They like feeding him the ball there in San Francisco. But yeah, those are the guys that are going to be 100% out this week. One guy I was very excited to take off that list as 100% out was Christian McCaffrey. I just read a couple tweets here at the end of the day. They pulled him off of the IR today. They designated return. It sounds like he might suit up on Thursday night. Not guaranteed. It's going to be something you want to watch. But unless they feel really good about him putting a uniform on Thursday, as a running back, normally they're not going to make that move unless they fully plan on it. So I think him and Mike Davis still share carries. I don't think you're going to get the Christian McCaffrey show. But if Christian McCaffrey, if they come out and say, hey, McCaffrey is playing, he's in your lineup, the guy will show that, hey, it doesn't matter. I haven't played in 6 weeks. I'm still the best running back in football, or at least in fantasy football. So, keep an eye on that. It is a Thursday night game, so it'll come quick. But if they say he's a go, I believe him. And then right now, all signs are pointing that he could suit up Thursday night and play against a really bad Falcons defense. Another guy that we've tossed around on, Michael Thomas. He's been really hurt this year. Back, hamstring this time. It's not the same injury he had. Hurt it late in the week. He was an immediate scratch. A lot of tension there in New Orleans right now. He's someone you're going to want to keep an eye on all this week. Aaron Jones, that was one that kind of slipped, caught me up on Sunday. I didn't see that one coming. All signs pointed to him being fine. He, had barely limited practice. He had all full participation on like one limited practice last week. So that's, again, questionable to probable, and then to that, game time decision. What you've seen with the Packers, and then, if anything, again, we have Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Devontae Adams. Likely not going to be starting too many other players on the Packers team, but they're another team that it looks like they're practicing load management. Devontae Adams, if you can remember, right before the bye week, he sounded like he was good to go. They sat him out. They did the same thing with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, again, he sounded like he was good to go. So that's a team you're going to have to keep an eye out if you have guys that are questionable going into the day, because they're not afraid to pull the trigger and say, hey, we don't need everybody because we still have Aaron Rodgers. Allen Robinson, another one to keep an eye on this week. He left late in the game with a concussion. He's in the concussion protocol. Again, we don't know if it was a concussion because they didn't have to announce it. We don't know the severity of it. It is tougher to go from concussion protocol on Monday and play on Sunday, but it's a 3:25 game. There's a little bit more time that he has. And again, it really depends on the severity. He has plenty of time. We'll know by Thursday. He's going to have to take the field by Thursday, Friday, for him to be able to play Sunday. And again, it's not like it's a bum knee. It's not not an ankle. If he can practice, they'll let him play. He'll be able to be out there, and you'll be starting him. No matter who's at quarterback there in Chicago. Miles Sanders, again, going to have to watch that. We still don't know. It was 1 to 2 weeks. It's been a week. Again, they're playing the absolutely god-awful Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. So Boston Scott looked just fine. They might let Sanders ride out, ride another week, go into the bye week, come out of the bye completely healthy. Again, they're pushing for, an NFC champion, NFC East championship here. Look like the favorites. They're going to want their bell cow, Miles Sanders. Mark Ingram, again, there was a bye week, so we don't get an injury report till tomorrow. I would say treated, he's probably going to be out this week. Gus Edwards is somebody we'll talk about. J.K. Dobbins, somebody that I love. I have in all my leagues. I've made everybody I talk to draft him. Could be finally his time to shine. Devontae Parker, again, they were on a bye. We won't know until Wednesday. Keep an eye on it. If Devontae doesn't go, Preston Williams is your guy. Jonnu Smith ended up with a banged up ankle. Again, we don't get the injury report. Keep an eye on it. If you can't, we got Ferkser there. You got most leagues. You can get guys like Jasicki, Logan Thomas. You don't need to go about putting people on waiver wire just yet. Know that there are options if your guy gets, he's out later in the week. And then Devontae Freeman. Probably wouldn't risk it. He plays Monday night. We're not going to know up until the last second. Sounds like he's, it's all signs point that'll be a game time decision. Giants offense isn't great. I'm not risking putting Devontae Freeman in my lineup for what it could be 9 to 10 points. And the major risk of, oh my gosh, he's not playing and now I can't put anybody in. Unless you think you can get Gallman last minute, you can take that risk. But I mean, I don't like any of those guys. I don't like a lot of the New York Giants running backs.
Yeah,
but
they don't
if you need,
like Saquon or anything.
so. if you have to play him, you have to play him. If you're planning on playing Devontae and are afraid that he might miss, add Wayne Gallman. I'm not saying add Wayne Gallman outside of that, but if you have Devontae Freeman and you need to start one of the Giants running backs, go out there, add Wayne Gallman, just in case Devontae Freeman can't go Monday night.
Awesome. So bye weeks to keep in mind. We have the Cardinals this week, the Washington football team, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Houston Texans. So keep in mind those bye weeks.
Yeah, a lot of fantasy production there. We got potentially. I've seen people starting Gardner Minshew. He's kind of that fringe starter, especially when in bye weeks. Deshaun Watson definitely getting David Johnson, Will Fuller. Akins was getting some starts. You got Kyler Murray, who's number 4 in quarterback scoring, having a hell of a year. Chase Edmonds, DeAndre Hopkins. Christian Kirk was starting to see some time. So, Antonio Gibson, the Washington defense. This is a big, we're starting to come into the meat and potatoes of these bye weeks, guys. And these are guys, these are teams, people you're going to want to fill. I'll kind of start off here with, if you need a quarterback, hopefully if you had Deshaun Watson or Kyler Murray, you're benching, you're keeping somebody back just by the nature that they play the game. They're running quarterbacks. I always recommend having a backup to your running quarterback this time of the year. If you only have one quarterback this time of the year, if you find yourself in the playoff race, looking pretty good for the playoffs, you're going to want to start working on that backup. You don't want to get to week 15, week 16 and have to, roll out, again, somebody like Sam Darnold because all the other quarterbacks are owned. So if you need to, these are some guys that I'm seeing that I think could be great bench options the rest of the year. Derek Carr coming in this week, he's going to play against that Browns defense that was just torched by Burrow. I think, I like Derek Carr the rest of the year. He's got a very easy strength of schedule. They're playing for division. He's got he's a put up or shut up year for Derek Carr. And then Teddy Bridgewater, he's going against Atlanta Thursday night. Again, he's almost somebody that if you have him and you're looking at somebody like a Drew Brees, I kind of like Teddy Bridgewater against Atlanta. So he's somebody that could get into that top 10 no matter who you have. So might be worth using a waiver wire. A waiver. Take a look at the other teams, who they're starting, who they have. Somebody like Matt Ryan. If I'm sending Matt Ryan out there every week, he's been pretty off and on, and you just need some consistency. Bridgewater's going to be your guy. Again, Derek Carr is going to be your guy. I don't think he scored less than, again, in 6-point touchdown leagues, I don't think he scored less than 22. And then in 4-point touchdown leagues, I think he's sitting at like 17, 18 points. You can't ask for much more from a guy like that for the rest of the year going into the easiest part of his schedule. So, and then again, defenses, guys, you potentially that Washington defense has been getting some traction because of the NFC East schedule. Probably you could drop those guys. I don't know. Arizona defense, Houston defense. So just go out there, see who's available, see who's got the best matchup. Go by the based on the scoring projection from your league. That's how I recommend streaming defenses. Never pick them up on a waiver wire. Never use a waiver claim on them unless you're talking about getting one of the top fives. Kansas City, I've seen them out there a couple of times. Because they've had a couple big games. So Dolphins defense has looked good multiple times. My fear there is they're throwing out a rookie quarterback. We don't know anything about Tua yet. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so those are the quarterbacks I would roll with this week if you can. If Burrow's still out there, Burrow's worth picking up and starting week over week. He's probably gone. But yeah, aside from that, on the waiver wire, pretty clear. I like to look at it like I've always said. Not only what can you do for me this week, but what can you do for me moving forward, at least 1, 2, 3 weeks. If you were lucky to get Antonio Brown last week, you see that's a guy that he has the potential to help you the rest of the year. He has that potential to help you win a championship. These guys, if the injuries continue, these guys are going to be there and they're going to be worth a start the rest of the year. My number one guy, JaMychal Hasty. I think that anybody in that San Francisco offense running the ball is going to be almost worth owning. I personally have Mostert and McKinnon. I'm not going to go after Hasty, unfortunately, because I can't put another San Francisco 49ers running back on my bench. But if you're in need, and if whether you had McKinnon or your Mostert or you have a chance to pick up this guy, JaMychal Hasty can find himself if these guys keep getting hurt. It's a backfield full of guys that keep getting hurt. We don't know who's going to be there running come week 15, week 16. So he's the number one guy on my list because he has the highest potential, and I think he's going to be the go-to guy this week. I don't see Tevin Coleman coming back. They're clearly trying to put a snap count on McKinnon. Hasty's likely going to be the guy that gets the most touches. I don't hate McKinnon this week. I just think the way they used Jeff Wilson last week is what we're going to see out of Hasty. Number 2, Gus Edwards. I don't see Mark Ingram playing this week. Most people had J.K. Dobbins owned. They did not have Gus Edwards owned. I see this as being a potential week, even though they're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. This could be the week where the two-headed monster takes over for Mark Ingram. Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins are having much better years running the ball than Mark Ingram is. You take Ingram out of that scenario, I think these guys can take over that job, and I think Ingram, might lose some touches, might lose his job this week, over the next weeks if he doesn't get healthy. For all the people that lost Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard was back last week. He was on my list. I wasn't sure what he would do. Again, I don't love a lot of the New York Giants, wide receivers. I don't like a lot of the New York Giants offense, but they do play in the NFC East. That's, the Eagles, the Washington football team, my apologies, and the Dallas Cowboys. So, that they're going to have some easy games coming up. Sterling Shepard looked great. He's always been Daniel Jones' favorite target. If Odell Beckham was on your team, you need a starting wide receiver that can give you potential wide receiver 1 numbers. I recommend you put Sterling Shepard to the top of your list. Go after him because he's going to be someone that, as long as he stays healthy, he's viable to start. He's going to get his 6 or 7 targets. He's going to get his 67 yards, and he's always going to have a chance to put a touchdown in. So after that, somebody I've seen has had a really rough start to the year, Carson Wentz. I've talked a lot of crap about Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is somebody that I'm actually recommending you go out there and get if he is available. He has a cake into the schedule here. He's starting to get some of his receivers back. He's starting to get some of his running backs back. Goddard will be back. Alshon Jeffrey will be back. We got Rager coming back. He's figuring it out with all these other guys. So he's about to get an influx of talent. They're about to get an influx of, hey, they feel like they can win this division. They're going to have some swag. The team's going to run through Carson Wentz. I'm going to take my chances on him. If you need a quarterback, if you lost Dak Prescott, you don't love what Matt Ryan's doing, you don't love Drew Brees, Carson Wentz might be able to get you to the end. And with that schedule, it's a lot of green. You go on there, you touch it, you see nothing but green on the rest of the season there for Carson Wentz. A lot of 2 Cowboys games, 2 Redskins games, 2 Giants games. That's 6 horrible defenses. So
That's easy.
Guy can put it up. And then Brandon Ayuk, he's going to be taking over for Deebo Samuel. Ayuk has proven he can be a game player, a game changer. He's a superstar in the making. He's going to get in the mix right away. And then, Richard Rodgers, again, if you need a tight end, Goddard and Ertz are both out for Wentz. Richard Rodgers, he's been all around this league, steps right in like he's been playing there for years. And then LaMichael Pirine, the now lead back in New York for the Jets. I hate saying this, but if you're down to the point where you need a starting running back that's going to get you 8 points, might get you 12 if he puts it in the end zone, Pirine's your guy. He's on the back end for me. Again, I'm not wasting unless I absolutely need it, unless I must have a running back. The games against me, I got tons of bye weeks. I'll go after Pirine, but he's not somebody I absolutely love. But hey, he's a starting running back in the NFL, so that's where he gets his 2 seconds today.
Definitely. So, what are your thoughts on the Cowboys' offense going forward?
Whew. Well, we got no Dalton this week, so we're going to go with rookie Ben DiNucci, and that's really because of the new COVID protocols, guys. It makes really no sense for the Cowboys to go out and get somebody like Fitzmagic, AJ McCarron, Tyrod Taylor. There was a number of names thrown around, but what happens is your quarterback goes down. Those guys have to come in. They didn't have to quarantine, I believe, 10 days, and so they wouldn't even be able to start this week anyway. They wouldn't be able to learn the playbook this week. So we got rookie Ben DiNucci. What I like about DiNucci is he's got a lot of swag. But again, if you were watching any of that game at the end, not enough to get this team to where they need to go. The Cowboys are set to get a handful of offensive linemen back. Zach Martin was out with a concussion. Cam Irving should be back. Joe Looney should be back. But still, we're not even talking starting. We're not even starting off. We're talking the second stringers are coming back. So right now they're running a whole third string offensive line. So I would say if you're able to sell Cowboys offense, Mari Cooper, able to sell Dalton Schultz, able to sell CeeDee Lamb. Zeke Elliott's one that's a little interesting because, he can have those games as long as this team can get it together and put it to a solid offensive line together. I'm not getting rid of Zeke. One, your return's going to be horrible for him. Nobody's going to give you anything. And so it's one of those where you got to take what you can get. But I would keep Zeke. He's probably the only one I'm starting week in, week out. Cooper had a pretty good game, but this offense, until they can prove they can put the ball in the end zone, I'm really, really scared that it's going to be all downhill. Their schedule's supposed to be pretty easy. That was with Dak Prescott at quarterback. Andy Dalton's not proven he can do anything. He came in saying he learned the offense in the offseason. I don't trust that. He looks completely lost out there. Word on the street from the players, he's completely lost out there. So I don't trust any of that Cowboys offense anymore. They number one offense in the league to the last offense in the league. Over the course of 2 weeks, one guy. Dak Prescott's proven what he's worth, and Jerry's going to have to open up that pocketbook if he wants to keep him there.
Definitely.
unless they win that Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes, but. I don't see the Cowboys win another game. I don't see the Jets win another game. So that could be pick one and pick two.
All right. So what's your take on the Seattle and the San Francisco backfield?
So Seattle, we got Carson's down. They say it's pretty minor. We're talking 1 to 2 weeks likely. Carlos Hyde, the imminent backup, in practice today, hurt his hamstring. It's tight, they say. You never know. Hamstrings usually don't repair themselves over the course of 2 or 3 days. Again, if Carlos Hyde's playing, he's in my lineup. But DJ Dallas, I think DJ Dallas is going to be the guy that sees some carries, if not all the carries. I mean, if you really need him, my recommendation is he's not going to get picked up on many waiver wires. He's going to be available. You wait till the waiver wires through. You go in and wake up tomorrow morning, you pick him up, and you put him there just in case. Worst case, they say Carlos Hyde's fine. You drop him and you pick somebody up before the game start. But he's somebody that's going to get it done. He's looked pretty solid, and they're going to need to run the ball a little bit more in Seattle. I think they got to take some pressure off that defense. I think Chris Carson's going to have a better second half of the season if he's able to stay healthy. So I think that they're going to have to make some changes there to protect that defense, because that defense is really bad. And then the San Francisco, whoever's starting is somebody that we want. We're just not going to know. Important to note, Tevin Coleman, he should be coming back here. If not this, he's potentially come back this week. So if you have an open spot on your roster, you can bench Tevin Coleman. I'm doing it. He's somebody that can step in, take the carries. You got Jeff Wilson to the IR, Raheem Mostert to the IR. We got Jarrett McKinnon, Jet McKinnon on a snap count. So we got JaMychal Hasty and potentially Tevin Coleman. So one thing happens to Hasty and Coleman becomes a must own. So that's my take there. But yeah, I think it's really going to depend. Whoever's the starting running back there is going to be the person that's getting the starts, and I don't think we're going to know week in, week out.
Interesting. And then lastly, Antonio Brown. What do you think his impact is going to be for this fantasy season?
Well, he played one game for the Patriots last year with Tom Brady. Him and Tom are buds. Tom has vouched for him to come to Tampa Bay. It's not someone you would normally see come in unless there was some, Tom, is in control of him. His contract is it's only guaranteed if they go to the Super Bowl. He has to hit a bunch of marks from production. So he's got to come in and be a model citizen. We don't know if he can do that. However, one game with New England last year, came in, I think he had 4 catches, 47 yards and a touchdown. So the guy he came in on a Tuesday, played that Sunday, and that was the numbers he put up. He'll be with the team as of this week. He'll come off of a suspension next week with Chris Godwin out, banged up, Mike Evans banged up, OJ Howard out, Scotty Miller banged up. Antonio Brown could become the number 1 receiver in Tampa Bay if he's worth anything at all. And, he's been sharing the videos. He worked out with Russell Wilson in the offseason. He's a guy that I think just has it. Again, I have him in a couple leagues, so I'm hoping so. He could be a number 1 receiver if he stays healthy. But that receiving core is so banged up, and it's going to take them 4 or 5 weeks to get healthy. I think we're going to get a heavy dose of Antonio Brown if he can keep it up. So it's going to save Tom Brady's season, because they're one misstep away, Mike Evans, to having nobody there catching the ball. I think Antonio Brown could be a savior for that offense. Some crazy way. I don't know how this happened. Like I said, Tom Brady putting the Avengers together down there, but Antonio Brown, he's one of the best that's ever done it. If he's healthy and he's in shape, he can have a really good second half of the season here. Yeah,
I'm hoping that'll be pretty sweet. Yeah, I picked him up too, so hopefully he does something. We'll see. But yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. It's yet to be seen. The Tampa Bay looks like the cream of the crop there in the NFC, but yeah, we'll it's gonna come down to the injuries. If he can stay healthy, Tom can stay upright. Antonio Brown's gonna be someone you probably want on your team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they have all these injuries too. Like in Tampa, they have Godwin out. Evans is looking okay, but hopefully, I don't know. Maybe a slot receiver. I don't even know, dude. There's so many receivers. It's ridiculous.
He's got to learn the offense still.
Yeah.
Again, he's played with Tom. Tom knows him. Tom can just say, "Hey, go out there and run around, get open. I'll throw it to you." He has that trust with him. So it's yet to be seen. And I mean, it's important to remember he wasn't cut from the Patriots due to his playing. It was due to outside of the game stuff. So
yeah,
if he's able to keep his stuff, his outside world together, the dude can still play football.
Definitely.
He's playing to save his career. So he's got a lot to play for. Again, yeah. Third time. So you don't get options like that unless you're as good as unless you're as good as he is.
Totally. Yeah. All right. Awesome. So we're on Twitter now, guys. So check us out on Twitter. Our handle's down below at FB_Lifeline. So J-Ball is going to be monitoring the week as the week progresses. So you can shoot him any questions as you want. This Sunday, he'll be answering questions. Start him, sit him, recommendations, whatever. 10:30 a.m. Central Time. You can tweet us, and we'll get you some answers for you guys. So let us know.
I'll be up right now. I'll be on the West Coast, so let me know, guys.
Awesome. Cool. That's about it. That's all I got.
All right. Hey, Enjoy your week, Richie. We'll talk to you. We'll see you next Tuesday, buddy.
All right, cool. Awesome. See you guys.
See you guys.